All right, folks, welcome to episode 69 of Biomassed. It's the Soraya Memorial episode, so should be a lot of fun tonight. We're going to talk about some like blazing hot topics in the world of Dust 514, aka the economy. You know, that thing that most of you didn't want to take in school. So, with that being said, there are a lot of interesting things about the game. It's more than just a first-person shooter in terms of the community and social aspects, as we all know. And it does, or it is rather, starting to have a very kind of nascent economy that's growing from the advent of player trading. It's not nearly on the level of EVE Online's like very complex economy. However, it is one that is starting to grow and starting to garner some third-party tools that might be kind of interesting. And there's not a whole lot of first-person shooters out there that have that as one of the sort of sponsored bits of architecture in the game. So should be kind of an interesting discussion. And we have had several people ask us to talk a little bit more about trading and potentially the future of in-game economy and that kind of stuff. Maybe even a little bit of like how do you construct craft or create industrial apparatus in the game, that kind of thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. We also touch on some general news out there floating, some dust, some not, and we also have a guest CPM tonight who can give us a CPM update since we no longer have a CPM in-house and on the leash and breaking NDA left and right behind the scenes, and desperately trying to cover up the fact that he's doing that. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and lead off with top of the list, Soraya. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm Soraya. I'm a co-host here on the show and a former member of the CPM.
And aren't we all glad? So, Aiwha Bait.
Hey everybody, I'm Aiwha Bait. I'm a member of the Incorruptibles and a writer for the Biomassed blog.
He's not a speaker for the Biomass blog, apparently. Okay, Godin.
Hello, I'm Godin Thekiller, pilot and explorer of new drifter technology. Blood.
Okay, Heracles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Heracles Porsche here. I am a Dust YouTuber and altaholic and a member of Random Guns.
Alrighty then. And Mr. Jadek Menaheim.
Hello, I'm Jadek Menaheim, creator of the Trello Trade Market.
Sweet. And let's see, Pokey.
I'm Pokey Draver from OSG Planetary Operations, co-host here on the podcast, and I should write for the blog, but it's been a while.
Well played. And our guest CPM tonight, Zaria.
Hi, I'm Zaria. I'm the CEO of Outer Heaven and new CPM member.
Alrighty. So, kind of before we get started, I was just doing a quick troll for news out there, as we generally tend to do when we're starting to look for topics to round out part of the show. Two things jumped out at me as I was getting my Google on, probably about 30 minutes before the show tonight. The first one, Wes Craven, has apparently passed away today. So if any of you out there are horror movie aficionados, I am, by the way, certainly not one. I don't really care for those movies. However, he is a fairly famous director in the horror movie circles, apparently. And he passed away, so I figured we had a lot of neckbeards in the audience that would probably be really into that. And part two, I actually got to see some leaked footage from the World of Warcraft movie. I was only tangentially aware that they were making a movie about World of Warcraft. I think I heard about it, like in relation to Comic-Con or something. But I've got to say, the footage, at least for the 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes of footage they had, was pretty boss. I was a little bit surprised. It was quite good. I recognized nobody in it because most of them are heavily made up and wearing some fairly gay-looking armor and or they're orcs or ogres or whatever they have down there. But it did look pretty good. It was actually it was not like shaky CGI or anything like, not rubbery or anything. It looked quite well. So those are my two bits of news. Anybody else got anything?
Wait, hold up. The World of Warcraft movie is still a thing? I thought they canceled that.
No, apparently
it's a thing.
it's going to get released here pretty soon, like 2016.
That's interesting.
Where did you see that footage, Jay?
It
Yes.
was on comicbookmovie.com, and it's comicbookmovienews.com, which is, by the way, a really, really pretty website. And they've taken it down almost immediately. I caught it just before they went down.
Aw.
Damn.
You might still be able to get it somewhere.
I'm sure you
I'll
can.
torrent it somewhere. My news is that the Taken King is just around the corner, and they're going to update Destiny on the 8th to start bringing all that stuff in. So any sort of thing that's not Taken King content, such as going through Dreadnought or something, they're going to start bringing that in. So get ready.
Okay, well, that should be kind of interesting. That Destiny's kind of on those. When I actually buy a PS4, I'll probably look into it. And my understanding, I've heard quite a bit about some folks that got sort of official media reviewer hands on the Taken King, and
You cut out.
Oh, we lost Jay again.
Oh,
Unreal.
God
Are we
damn.
gonna? Hey, we're not gonna start over this time, right?
No.
No,
Thank
So have you guys heard about the Borderlands movie they're working on? I think it's
Man, I heard about
Lionsgate.
what?
Yeah.
This is news to me.
The
That should be news.
well, yeah, the producer who's doing it, Airy something, I believe. If somebody wants to fact check that, that would be great. I don't know the guy's name, Airy something, like I said. He is the producer for a ton of Marvel movies. He did the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, all the Fantastic Four movies, including the new one. He did the 2000 X-Men and just a bunch of other stuff. Just going through his IMDb page. So he's the producer on it. I don't think any of the stuff for the plot has been released yet, but still interesting to see.
I know Dragon Age Inquisition is getting some exciting new DLC, but we should probably, I don't know, maybe we should move the discussion back to Dust. I don't know.
Nah, it's not like this is
Nah.
a Dust podcast or anything.
No.
Correct.
You have to understand that this is called filling the time for Jay to get back and reconnect. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Avi-
you know-
Aviarod is the guy's name.
You know what else just came out? Is this week Star Citizen released its
Social module.
planet-side social module? So you can right now it just constitutes going in an elevator and pushing a button and being told the servers are full. But other than that, yeah, it's great.
The
No,
great piece of
it's
footage I saw from
literally-
that.
It's literally PlayStation Home Star Citizen.
Yeah,
Edition.
I did get into
So,
it. I had to wait till an odd hour of the night. But yeah, you can just it looks nice. It's a fairly expansive little city that they put together there with shops and whatnot. But there's literally nothing you can do in it yet. All the shopkeepers just kind of stare blankly at people.
And then
And-
like everybody has the same face and outfit, and most
No,
of the
there-
footage
no,
I
no,
saw.
no.
Be,
There
really?
are there are 6 outfits available.
Okay.
There
All
are
I saw was
6.
just
Oh,
people.
wow.
How
it's
much do they
6.
cost?
No, it's just they don't cost anything. It's just they randomly spawn you in one of 6 of them.
Okay.
But then there's just that one that commonly gets picked, so pretty much everyone looks alike.
And then everybody's like crab walking around. It's like just jumping up and staying in place. It's just
So it
looks
kind of sounds
not easy to take serious.
So it kind of sounds like the was it the Horizons Lounge, the Dust 514 hub in PlayStation Home then?
But
It
it
kinda
I mean, it
looks
looks
like
really
that.
nice. But
Oh yeah, well yeah, of course.
so
So he's gone again. It's Zell will laugh at this, but it's kind of funny to think that Dust effectively got an incarnate expansion with actually walking in a station before Eve did, with the PSO bar that we had, which is actually admittedly pretty cool at the time. But yeah, we actually got it before Eve did, which is a bit of a sore spot for Eve players.
and then we
Please
lost
take
it.
it to Eve.
I
And then
just
we
want to
lost it.
state. I want to state on the record that Jay's disappearances are not our issue this time. Is we are doing this on a new server this week.
Oh, so it's just his shitty internet. Is what you're saying?
Today,
That's-
yeah.
that's quite possible.
Okay. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Nope.
sir.
Sweet.
Little bit.
Okay.
Well.
So how about that dust economy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we might as well dive into this. And as the way this is going to work, if I just stop talking, somebody. So I'm going to pick one. Jadek, you run the show because I don't trust really anybody else.
Oh goodness. All right. Where to
Can you
begin?
feel the love tonight?
So when did we get the initial trader plating or player trading?
Okay, all right. Everything I said about that, Jadek, you're down.
I've
All right.
lost it. I've lost the con.
Zaria, you've got the show.
Wonderful.
I don't want it.
Okay, all right. So this is working out like an episode of Survivor. Before I get down to Godin and Zell, I'm gonna have to like cut my wrist with a fucking toenail clipper.
It's so specific.
No, well,
Yes.
this is
This is
actually
episode
it's a
69,
good
guys.
point. It's a good point. So I think player trading came out. What about 4 months ago? Is that about right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was announced roughly 4 months ago. It came out maybe a couple weeks later. That's about right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's still a relatively limited set of things that you can trade. It's basically like weapons and stuff like that, and I think drop suits, right?
Officer
And
experimental
boosters as well.
stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
what
here's
can you not
here's the
trade?
list as I have it. You've got skins, apex suits, officer weapons, experimental weapons, officer drop suits, and a handful of other BPOs like
boosters. Some boosters.
and yeah, that's right. And the 30-day passive boosters and 7-day active boosters.
Very specific.
So yeah, that's everything.
But it's still enough to kind of stimulate a little bit of an economy, people playing and getting what they can and then trading that back and forth. But it's problematic because you have to send the item to someone and hope that they pay you. So it's
Have
right
them
for
pay you
scamming.
first.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just make people pay me first. I don't send anything out before.
Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't trust me enough to send your ISK first, then I don't trust you enough to send my item at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a wonderful aspect of player trading is the paranoia and the all the stuff. It's great. I love it.
And you really get to look and see, amongst all the players, because there are a lot of big name people are in these player channels. You really get to see like who the douchebags are amongst the Dust community, although that might as well be everybody. But you get to see, certain people who really don't give a fuck about granted this is New Eden, but you do get to see who doesn't mind stepping over that moral boundary, if you will. It's really interesting.
And kind of like playing off of that, clever and I guess you could say morally questionable players could take those big name players and create free PSNs, basically copying their name to an extent that would be able to pass it off in the chat channel. That was a very big problem, and it still continues, where people would take advantage of those well-known names to trade for items, and people would lose their money quite frequently that way on big purchases.
Yeah, like the other day I saw 3 people in the black market trade channel with the same looking name, but obviously with different variations of one letter, I believe. So that was really fun to watch that go down and the voice up there. I didn't get any of it recorded, unfortunately, but it's still humorous.
Yeah, it is against CCP's terms of service, but it's kind of hard to nail down these people because PSNs are free to create.
So yeah, scammers, I find these people pretty contemptible, but at least it's play money. Unfortunately, the thing with scammers is they exist in real life too. So it's the way I look at it to stay positive about it is it's kind of a good hard knock lesson for people. If they get scammed and lose some play money, maybe they're learning a lesson about what to do with their real money. That's how I look at it. I don't know how do you guys think about it?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of depends on where you come from in the game world, I guess. If you were familiar with the CCP flagship game EVE Online, that has an incredibly deep and an actual living economy in game, where for the longest time, they actually had a PhD economist shepherding the game, and they still monitor it quite well. I mean, there's a lot of master's thesis, like literally advanced economic degrees that have been written about EVE Online and its economy. I mean, when you come from that, it has everything from basically day traders to classic hedge fund guys or bait and switch people that scam left and right. And that is literally just a method of doing business or a known function of doing business inside of EVE. So for me, which is I kind of came from the EVE world into Dust, that doesn't really that kind of activity doesn't surprise me. But EVE's also somewhat unusual, in terms of other games and how you play the meta. And the economy in EVE is definitely part of the meta game. Whereas in Dust, I think it's a little bit more, not pure, but it's more distilled because of the what the type of game it is and really what you're allowed to trade and not trade.
I might be alone in this, but I mean, I see EVE and Dust differently. Granted, my experiences with EVE are pretty limited, but they do seem like different cultures to me. I don't know how you guys think about that.
Dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Player trading has also, I mean, there's been stuff like when it comes to what people are putting on the field, player trading has clearly had a pretty big impact on that.
Oh yes. Absolutely, yeah. I've seen more officer weapons run in pubs, and not so much the suits, but though I did kill a guy the other day running a frame, so I was quite pleased with myself. I do see the weapons a lot more in the game, in pubs and experimental weapons than I used to. Before you would just see the occasional excuse me, the occasional fail sniper or whatever up on top of a hill, and you'd be like, oh, okay, everybody kill it. God damn it, that guy's running a fucking Victors. We need to kill that guy, or whatever. It's just on and on. He'll die. He'll come back with the same weapon. It's interesting to see what people are fielding now that there's an easy access to those kinds of weapons.
Yeah, and it is easy.
I think that it's starting to make me wonder if we have what level we're at for power creep generally in the game, because it's like when I first started playing. Years ago, very few people actually fielded proto, like very few, particularly in pubs. Now it is sort of the standard, like literally, it is difficult to not come by matches where at least half the people or more run around on proto, if not all. So it makes me wonder, are we trying to get through this big glut of weapons, and player trading is basically breaking up the logjam and trying to free all of these like officer and experimental weapons and all this other stuff that's been accruing the game for a long time, or it's not going to bleed out? Because correct me if I'm wrong, like if I trade Jadek for, he gives me a bunch of Victor's laser rifles and I give him a bunch of ISK or whatever, I can go out and I shoot, I get blown up or whatever. A lot of those rifles, those like officer laser rifles, go back into the salvage pool, right?
If you're in PC or
factionals,
factional, yeah.
I mean, occasionally.
No, here's the thing though. Sorry to interrupt. There are a lot of things that are sustaining the pool of officer weapons. Besides just them going back into the pool with PC and whatever. There's also the experimental laboratory, which is producing a pretty good amount of officer gear for everybody. There are boxes, they're still popping up, and you're still getting them at the end of pubs every once in a while. Yeah. So they're not, they're still a very relatively heavy influx of officer gear to the player base. In fact, it's probably with, boxes and experimental lab, it's actually probably, been the heaviest it was for a significant amount of time.
Well, for nothing else, more and more people are getting to the point where, their war barges, are upgraded enough that they can just keep producing more and more weapons from the lab.
Yeah, and I mean, your how good a job you did developing that war barge, can have a relatively big impact on your influx of assets.
Also, I think it's at the point to where people just stop caring about their gear and just blowing through all the is that they have. Like, it used to be that you would only use Proto and Officer for PC matches because those were important ones and people really cared about actually having good is. But now it's just at the point where PC doesn't really matter to a lot of people anymore, so they're just gonna blow it in pubs.
And maybe that's because, the game has no foreseeable future at this point. People looking there like, well, where's this going to be in, 2 years or 3 years? If it's dead in a year, I could see a lot of people not giving two shits about what kind of about their account, about what suits they're running, what weapons they're running, or their ISK even, because there's no future in the game, if that makes sense.
I don't know if it's all that. I mean, maybe that's feeding into it a little bit. I do remember. Do you guys remember right after the Rouge wedding? A lot of people were running all their good stuff, their officer stuff, because they figured they were done with the game.
Yeah,
I don't think that's what we're going through right now. I think it really is just a big we just have a big influx of this stuff coming in, and it's become affordable just because there's just so much of it being produced and traded and reclaimed and everything that it's still. I mean, a lot of officer weapons are still running at 300k each, but that's affordable for a reason. A pretty decent amount of the player base.
One thing that struck me, what you're just describing to me, is literally, if I logged in right now, it would take me a long time to blow through the amount of ISK that's just sitting on my account. So I pretty much, there's no reason not for me to run Proto. Basically, I'm lazy. I won't restock any of my advanced fit, so I just run Proto stuff. But what you're describing, I didn't realize that was the price of an officer rifle, like an officer rail rifle or whatever was 300k. But if you're a relatively new player and you generate a few of those, or you pick some up in a box or salvage or whatever, I think that's another thing that's in a minor way contributing to folks running more, at least Proto gear, because now there's not a price, there's not nearly as much of a like a price wall in front of you. So I think the ways to generate ISK are out there now that we didn't have a couple 3 years ago, which is also again generally contributing to power creep. It's just one of those things that happen normally when you have games that have varying different stats and degrees of stuff. So that, like I said, just as an aside, that caught me right there. That if I'm a new player with 7 million SP or whatever, and I've got 6 or 7 officer weapons, and they're averaging 250 to 300k a pop. That's a pretty good little nest egg right there, for a week's worth of work, basically.
And also, I want to touch on the officer suits. What's really been really interesting is that they have become dramatically more easy to field than when they first started out. When I first started out, I got 3 Logi's Bros in a box, and it took me a really long time before I got to the position where I felt like it was time to field those. But I bought a bunch of them early on. Unfortunately, when they were way overpriced, they started out being worth something like 3 million each, and I made a big investment of them. And sadly, I bought high instead of when they were low, and now they're worth a fraction of that. Now I've heard I've been going for 500k. Probably a little more than that, but yeah. Officer suits started out in the 3 million range. They're now closer to maybe the 600k range, and that's a dramatic drop from where they started.
It's also nice to see what officer suits the community seems to really want. Like Heracles was saying, those Logibro suits are very popular, as well as the Rattati suits and the Scotsman suits.
The Rattatis are definitely very noticeable.
But man, how about them Storm Raiders and them whatever the other one is, the other heavy suit, the Mark Commando and the
Archduke?
Yeah, man, those fucking Storm Raiders, man, nobody wants to buy those. I tried to sell those a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Amar
would take 'em.
Commando is not a popular suit to spec into for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
I literally can only name one person that I know who actually has that suit, like is skilled into the Amar Commando, and that's Kane. I mean, I can't think of anyone else.
True
No one
Adamance
uses
has
it.
it. You know True Adamance has it.
Well, yeah, okay. I've never played with True though. I mean, it just never. Yeah, I'm sure there are other people, but I personally just haven't met them.
Yeah, just say Mar Commando is just one of those suits that's just, on the weaker end of, what a suit and suit bonus can offer you.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, it was a while ago. I'm gonna say maybe a month ago, as like one of the few games I was able to get into. We're in that really bad patch of not being able to get into to match. There was a dude with a Victor's and a Victor's Neg 1 laser rifle and a Mar Commando suit, and he was fucking housing people. God, I can't even remember that. I think it was the Pipes map. He was absolutely just beasting people with that thing.
Those
I could
Victors,
see
man,
that.
oof, those are some badass weapons.
I mean, it pretty like
Um,
that combination makes me wonder why they even make rail rifles.
I was actually
Snipers.
riding around in my Juker the other day, and somehow, I don't know how, but a Victor's actually stopped my shield regen, which was really interesting.
That's one way to look at it. So now I did have a quick question for Heracles and Jadek. So one of the things that is kind of a hallmark on the east side of the econ part of the game is like third party stuff. And I think Jadek, you were one of the first guys where you started. I want to say a Trello board, right?
Right. Yeah.
Can you? I mean, Heracles, have you also looked into things like this as well?
What?
Well, no, I mean I keep track of Jadek's Trello,
Okay.
but I don't have any resources like that myself, but what I would like to do at some point is collect a list of all the scammers so I can just kind of like publicly have a little thing where that's been collected, the names are out there. I think that would be a really good resource for people. I know Jadek's got that on his Trello, but
Can
we
people? I'm sorry. Can people pay to keep their name off?
no, I have what's called integrity, unfortunately.
That's
Playing the
that's
wrong
just
game.
not,
what's
yeah,
your,
I know.
not gonna work.
What would be your basis on putting names there? You'd have to be personally scammed by that person, or what?
No,
Like,
I would just need no. Well, actually, I haven't. I've been really lucky. I haven't been scammed since player trading came out that I know of.
Same.
So basically, if I wanna, troll someone, I should, suggest their name for the scammer
Yeah,
list.
obviously that's the big problem is
Cool.
getting the reliability of the names that are being put on there. So that's what's given me some hesitation. But we do have a lot of resources. You can cross-reference stuff. Like I had an old list of there was a mail that went out back when I was in Cap that was like a list of different scammers, and I could cross-reference that with Jadek's Trello. Say, okay, yeah, that's definitely a scammer. I see this name over and over again. That kind of thing.
Yeah, how I do it with my the blacklist on my Trello there. You can look up the Trello googling Dust Bunny day traders. But how it works for that one is I have it like a 4-tier system. So there's like a scam warning system. It's like a little yellow flag by the person's name that they've been mentioned a couple times on various chat rooms or on the forums, or I've dealt with them personally and they're up to some shady business. Put them on there. I'm on there actually as a scammer, flagged as yellow.
Nice.
Then there's your red tag, which is corroborated proof that shows that this person has scammed multiple people, and there's chat logs, photos to back it up. There's also a way for a person to counterclaim, I guess, kind of going along with someone just wanting to drag someone's name through the muck, that they can present counter evidence that they haven't actually dealt with that person or they're just being trolled. And the person that has filed the claim, if they file a false claim, they go on a special shit board that says you are no good and you're loving false claims. So watch out for those people as well.
No, I think that's probably some good counsel. And what I would offer to folks like that are, I mean, at this stage of the game, there's really not enough tools to. There's not a contract system like you have in EV. There's not enough. There's not a whole lot of tools. It's literally like, open Windows, send it this guy sends back to you or whatever. To me, that's really something that you work out with a known quantity, like in your corp or your personal circle. And I think that, Jadek, correct me if I'm wrong, there's like you and a few other people have started basically an escrow service for bigger purchases, which is actually an interesting little side gig that you can do.
I know, yeah, Kane does a lot of that. Kriba, he's in it. He came over from Eve and does some business in Dust, so he's definitely a good one to check out.
There are other business aspects, like just the very simple practice of people trying to buy low and sell high. That's become part of Dust.
Another thing I've been kind of experimenting with my own couple of friends and corp mates is actually selling corporations. So we build up command points within the corporation, and each corporation has a CP wallet of I think 100,000. So once you build to that, you can't hold any more. So what you do is then you transfer the holdings and deed over to another person, and then they can use that to attack up to 4 districts at their leisure.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it works.
Yes, because nothing's more fun than no-show PCs.
Yeah, kind of taking advantage of that mechanic.
Well, I guess my question is, what are there? I guess other than Trello boards and stuff, is anybody aware of any like legit third-party activity, anything remotely looking like an actual like a website or a tool or an app or anything like that anybody's made or is looking at making?
Nope.
Apps for Dust? No.
I mean, people are using the forums. They did make the subsection of the forums for player trading, but other than that, no, there's nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Not a thing.
Jay, I guess the only thing I could add to the Trello is there is a desktop notification feature. So what you can do is you can follow a card, which is like a little topic subhead. You can click to subscribe to a card, and you can get notifications whenever someone posts to that. So I guess it's a benefit over the forums, that if someone comments on that, you can get like an email notification. There's a little widget that pops up on your desktop. It says someone commented on weapons officer.
That's not bad. That's probably something you work with.
Yeah, Trello's also got a really nice app for your Android and your iPhone devices to supplement that. I know I use that all the time. Because normally, you're playing Dust, you more than likely have your phone beside you, whether you're streaming music or, doing something else. So it's nice if you're just sitting in trade channels, waiting for somebody who got disconnected or whatever, and you want to make a trade. Just open up the app and be like, hey, is this a scammer? No? Okay.
Well, I guess generally my question is, based on what you see now, is there going to be any sort of relevant metagame play utilizing the economy other than some stuff really on the margins then?
Well, I mean, it's sort of like what we already said. There's people who are just finding ways to just make ISK with relative degrees of honesty, and if they get rich in the market, then obviously they're fielding proto and officer all the time, so people could be like I said, they could be scamming to get rich, and some of the scams are actually like ridiculous. I've heard of people getting scammed out of hundreds of millions in one sitting. That's hard for me to even fathom, but
That's a good payday.
yeah, there's slightly more honest practice of, like I said, buying low and selling high. So people have time on their hands definitely have time on their hands when the battle servers are down. So, they're trying to play the market that way. And, if you get rich in the player market, then you can field better stuff on the battlefield, so.
Heracles, there's also like it's a small subset of players who is able to macro and even physically farm multiple PlayStations for like the experimental lab warbarge subsystem.
Right.
Like you?
I've done a little bit of it, but not on the scale of some people I know.
Unfortunately, I'm a dummy, and I still earn a lot of my ISK the hard way by, running Apex suits in pubs and trying to get missions done. But it's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm too much of a crazy person to actually earn this. Using HEVs and such doesn't actually net you a profit, especially since you're surrounded by officer AV weapons all the time.
Yeah, I imagine beacons are quite the bane for you.
It is. It's terrible. It makes me cry sometimes.
Good.
Well, let me kind of bridge this over to a bit of a little bit more forward-looking part of the topic. So, I think we have what we have now in terms of the way we can do trading. So, I guess my question, which is sort of open-ended to the group, what is in the realm of the possible for Dust in the next 6 months, or ish, that they could do to enhance any of the trading or the economic component of the current game?
Well, I think Rattati said at one point that he eventually wanted everything to be tradable.
Which would be amazing.
Setting up a confirmation window would be excellent too.
He can do two things.
That would put a pretty quick end to the scamming.
He could sort of, basically I was going to say the contract system from Eve, but a confirmation window would be pretty much that. Also, he could let me, get all of the access vehicle equipment from other people that never even touches vehicles in their lives, so I can have all that extra Maddies to burn through. Just saying.
It seems like on the forums, a lot of people are requesting the ability to trade Quaif weapons.
Yes.
I know a lot of people want to. People are actually surprisingly interested in getting their hands on a lot of skins.
Yeah, that actually does surprise me a little bit, considering you can't really see them most of the time, nor do you have a place to sport them other than just knowing that or thinking that you have that on your drop suit. Since
I mean, most
50,
of them are
50,
selling. Most of them are selling for around the 30 million mark.
Yeah, I mean 50-50. When I would get into a war barge with a with a skin on a drop suit, it wouldn't show. It would just be whatever the base drop suit was.
No, mine never show on the war barge.
You can see it in your merc quarters. I've been putting a
sometimes
suit. Yeah, this is true sometimes. Most of the time I've been wearing my my Kryn suit on my I got my Remnant 9 Mimitar Logi suits favorited. I threw Kryn's suit on those to see if it would show up because I didn't know if it would or not. And probably about 8 times out of 10 when I log in, it pops up.
What I see mostly with the skins is it doesn't pop up when I first log in, but if I have a suit favorited, then I come back after a game. That's when I see the skin, and
Same case for me.
Same. Can I have a BPO cloth skin for my Maddie? I would enjoy that.
That'd be cool.
And not this purple crap. I want the original pink and white, please. Thank you.
Well, I guess my question, it still stands. I mean, what can they do actually? Not what we want them to do, but I guess what can they do to the game?
Well, sorry, I'm just veering off slightly. Some of those skins is interestingly enough, Rattati decided they wouldn't let us trade. So the pirate skins are not tradable, and the some of the skins from the LP store are not tradable. The ridiculously overpriced ones. Yeah.
I guess
why?
Well, the only reason I can think through that is if there's some reason for them that they want to continue to make money, because I don't know how like Olympus in real dollars, like what you're paying for a skin is ridiculous for what you get. And I mean over the top ridiculous. You might as well just give them your money in a Kickstarter for free.
Yeah, I've been playing Warframe a lot lately, and how they do that is you buy color palettes, and you can use the color palettes for both your suit skins, decorating your basic. They're kind of like your mercenary quarters. It's a little ship in space, your weapons. It's just a whole range of stuff rather than just one simple skin for like $5 compared to $10 paying for a skin.
And you actually get to customize it, pretty much make your own skin, and it's really fun. I've actually bought a couple of the palettes myself.
Well, I think with the pirate skins, you can only. I think they decided to leave those. The only way to get them is for boxes, so desperate players will spend lots of Orem on boxes. I guess. I guess that was their idea.
That
Don't
was
even
I
get me
guess
retarded
started
they.
on
idea.
boxes. Oh no.
But a lot of people want to be able to trade, like, these items pretty badly. And for the ones from Faction Warfare, I really wish I could sell. I had one I bought a long time ago that I don't care for. I really wish I could sell that off. And a lot of people wish they could buy them because they just they don't want to grind 100,000 LP, and a lot of people are using their LP to sell Apex, but you can also get those with Orem. So there wouldn't be any competition there for like those skins in terms of like LP to ISK, whatever. Oh, and
Yeah.
that's another thing that's interesting is the new player trading market has given us a lot of ways to convert our other currencies to ISK. So if you save up 100,000 LP in Faction Warfare, you can convert that to ISK by basically selling an Apex suit. If you have a bunch of Orem, you can convert that to ISK by selling skins or boosters or what have you. And I think that's probably helping CCP make a lot of money.
Sure does indeed.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my point about a lot of this is in Eve you can use Plex as basically it's effectively the gold standard. That's a very, very dumbed down way of looking at it, but that's kind of what it's used like. So the Plex index almost it governs a lot about the economy.
Yeah, I think that
Whereas here we don't have anything remotely like that. It's literally just a barter system.
Yeah, but I think that I think that our economy has become like a little bit more like the EVE Online, like like for instance in the old days, like if you wanted boosters, you were pretty much restricted to buying Orem. Now I'm buying boosters with my ISK, so I can spend all my in-game time to get what I want, but the people who are willing to spend their real money and turn it into ISK, they're giving me access to boosters. They're spending their real money. I'm spending my time, and every player is spending whatever they want to spend to get what they want, rather than just being restricted to one or the other.
Well,
No, go ahead, Jadek.
How about the idea of being able to like send ore tokens to people? That was
be
something they had
legit.
phased out in Eve. They had something called ore tokens, but then they simplified it by just making it Plex. But maybe something like that could be useful in Dust.
So pretty much being able to send gift cards to people.
Oh yeah. Instead of sending the code to the person, you would send them like a token in game.
I really like that. That probably would be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, like I think there were probably original visions of a grand economy that was quite linked to Dust, or correction, to Eve, and on at least more than a few levels. What they really have right now is that, but with no linkage.
I mean,
no
we can
backbone.
see over time they've really shied away from the Eve Dust connection. So I'm not holding on to any grand hopes for that.
No, I think but the point is, like, a lot of the systems that we have, or a lot of the functions in the game, period, are a holdover from something that was like 25% done or 10% done, and the direction it started at was aimed at that sort of linkage. And because we've veered dramatically off that course, there's some things that just don't make like I'll be honest with you. What would make more sense to me is if they got rid of all Orem items, and then you could just straight up buy ISK with real money, like directly from the game. That would make a hell of a lot more sense to me. Now there's
you can indirectly now though.
Right, I said directly though, not indirectly. So my point to that is, like, what you have is effectively the Orem items you can, I think, access like one skill level lower than you're supposed to. Okay, cool, I guess. But that's not really why people buy them, because most people that have the Orem items or have bought the Orem items generally are skilling into them the only way to use an ORM effective, well, it's not even cost effective, but is, let's say you wanted to buy a whole bunch of ORM core locust grenades. What you do is you don't skill all the way up to that, and then you just keep buying the ORM items and use the skill points later. That would be the theory, but that's not, nobody does that. Like, nobody. So you already have the skills to run the ISK version, and at this point in the game, like, there are a lot of new players, but you can get SP a hell of a lot faster nowadays than you used to. So what's the purpose of having multiple different currencies inside of a closed system like Dust, particularly when you start throwing around command points and shit like that? Like, why do we have multiple currencies floating through right now?
Well, I mean, it was their idea to make, you mean like faction warfare points and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, what you should be able to do is like resell LP, like straight up.
That would be great.
What?
As somebody who
Wait.
grinds out factionals, I would love to be able to resell my LP.
What do you mean by resell your LP? Because I'm like drunk right now, so I'm kind of confused.
Well, that's not a shocker, Godin. So what we really have is, if you wanted to get LP and you wanted to get some town story, I should be able to send you LP, like, they're effectively like bearer bonds. Like, if I wanted to send you 50,000, Caldari LP, that's basically Caldari script or Caldari money. That I should be able to send you just like I send ISK.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. I'm not sure about that because, well, seeing as we can basically pour ourselves out to the empires willy-nilly, no sort of loyalty systems at all, I guess that kind of makes sense. But if at any point we actually got any sort of loyalty, I would sort of want to shy away from that.
Why? That would actually make it more worthwhile, because you would actually have isolated components of the community that would probably compete for the LP sales.
Well, I mean, I have no problem with the way it is right now. We have basically 6 different types of currency. If you're smart, you know
Sure,
how to convert one to whatever you have to ISK.
Yeah, I'm with you. And if we were Europe, that would be awesome. But this is a niche first-person shooter game. Like, I mean, I think that's my general take on the economy of Dust. I think there's a lot of really neat stuff that, in terms of the indexing of certain types of equipment. Like, until you guys rattled off like 300K for like a proto rifle or something like that. And I assume each one of the rifles, based on their relative value, is different. But I didn't know that that's what they were going for, because I never really look into that aspect of the game. But it's sort of like many things in Dust. Like, is there a way that they can enhance that component of the game legitimately with either the resources or time they have to do it? And if not, I think they really should look at simplifying it. Is kind of my point. Like, why have something that complex in a game? Like,
6 different systems of currency doesn't feel too complicated for me. Sorry to be a stick in the mud, but
it may not be too complicated for you, but it's too complicated for this game.
Heracles, were you counting district credits in that 6?
Oh, right. Well, yes, district credits. Great. Yeah, thank you for giving us a giant piles of currency we can't spend CCP.
Yeah, that was really stupid. I just looked at that and I said, why?
Yeah, CCP needs to fix that fast, because that's silly. And we're looking at giant bars covering our salvage every match. Come on, get that fixed, please.
That and those war bars, not the components, but that scrap that we get sometimes.
Yeah, that was originally designed to be fed into a crafting system that we're probably not going to get.
My point. Why? Sigh.
I have so much scrap. I'm seriously considering just selling it back to the NPC market. Maybe they should make that scrap tradable. I don't know. It'd be nice though.
Just saying,
Wasteland
hold on
junk
to
removal.
Exactly. You just have fucking junkyards. Get a bunch of people, a bunch of Mimitar people to run them, and send them your scraps.
But yeah,
Hold
going
on to
back to
those
district
vehicles,
credits. There hasn't been any word on what they're putting in the market there yet, besides skins and maybe some weapons.
I'm assuming experimental weapons or something on the lines of that.
Yeah, there aren't really enough sources for experimental weapons yet, so that would be a good move.
I'd kind of like to get some sort of variation of my vehicles from that because I have barely any of that at all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's quite a few items that they could nose around with. I mean, there's no lack of things that they should work on with Dust 514. I don't suspect.
So okay, so I totally forgot what my push to talk button was there for a moment. I was trying to say something about. I mean, I really don't have any details on this any more than anyone else, but the roadmap still lists simple crafting for Warlords 1.3. So I mean, the crafting may not happen sometime in the near future or not, but I mean it's still there on the roadmap. So I mean I personally haven't given up hope yet.
Well,
Such
that's
an
fair too.
optimist. Such an optimist.
CBN confirmed.
Well, yeah, that would definitely be good for the health of industry and trading if we could get rid of passive systems of creating weapons and stuff.
And I mean I cannot say anything to whether how accurate that is. I literally don't know. All I know is that that's still listed on the roadmap, and I mean until it's unlisted from the roadmap, I mean so far they've been pretty accurate on the on that. So yeah, we'll see.
Time will tell if it is any way useful to me.
So Zaria, how about those Bonds shotguns in PC?
Oh, I absolutely love being killed by bomb shotguns in PC. It is one of my favorite
Non-stop?
things.
Non-stop
Just
bond.
constant, all bonds, all bonds, all day.
That's a lovely gift that player trading has given us.
Oh yes. I'm truly enjoying that.
I like big bonds. I cannot lie.
Those are the automatic shotguns, yeah?
Oh yeah, yes.
That they're automatic. They basically fire at twice as fast as shotguns. I don't know. I think the range on them is ridiculous. The damage on them is ridiculous.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're the definition of overpowered officer.
Okay, so let's do this. A little experiment. Let's make them gigantic, and then let's attach it to an HAV. Let's do that.
Have you ever run into that glitch in Dust where you see a great big weapon in the sky?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah, something on the lines of that.
It's literally like you'll see like a Duval like the size of a dropship flying.
Nice.
It's insane.
The size of the MCC, Jay.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
Dude.
Like when I say dropship, I mean literally, it's huge. I actually thought it was a second MCC, like another MCC at one point. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Holy shit, that's a fucking rifle!"
It's a new game mode.
On the flip side, that the Krin's assault rifle has turned out to be pretty weak sauce. So that's another effect that player trading has had. Is it's let us see kind of the equivalent strength of where a lot of officer weapons are right now.
And I've been giving them at pretty cheap prices, so I'm hoarding them right now. And as soon as they buff them to be actually good officer, well, they're actually pretty good. It's just that they're not good officer weapons.
Yeah.
That's aside. I've been hoarding them, and as soon as they actually get buffed, well, I'm gonna make me some bank.
Moving away from OP officer weapons, we'll talk about OP officer drops. It's that Archduke, man. You fucking fit a light gun, a heavy gun, and a sidearm, I believe. Seen a bunch of people running around with that shit. Oof.
It's great. I used one of mine, and it lasted me 4 matches.
Dude.
It was great. I've heard good things from people who run them, and but being on the receiving end of that, man, oh god damn, dude. It basically allows you to mow down an entire squad without reloading once. Is what I got out of it.
Yeah. When CCP Archduke was playing quite regularly a couple of days ago when he was in Dev Hangout, I was hearing, I didn't personally see him in matches, but I was hearing people say he was running his and I think he said it once or twice himself, that he was running his Archduke's BPO master
Yeah,
in pubs and
Oh
mowing the shit out
God.
of people. People were
What?
pretty upset about that. Yeah.
the devs with named suits are the only people who have BPOs of those officer suits.
Yeah, that's but Archduke would have it. That's his.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like
I would have the
Rattati has
officer HAV.
Rattati
who
has
always
an
is
officer,
out.
an officer BPO of the Rattati suit and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, honestly, why couldn't they just give the winners of the officer weapon events a BPO?
Yeah,
of
a
them?
non-tradable BPO. That'd be pretty good.
That would have been pretty hot.
Even better if they made it tradable and they were like, you have to pay me 50 billion, you can get this. And an entire corporation came together
Yeah, I mean,
and
there's no reason to make it untradeable, because if it's unique enough, it's not. If it's unique enough, it doesn't matter that it's tradable, because you're not you're not in your right mind going to trade a completely unique BPO for anything less than this.
50 billion though, man.
You people are
What
scaring
would you
me.
do with
I
50
could-
billion?
Dude, I don't know. I could see some, like Godin was saying though, some poor corporation just pulling all their is together that they've saved up for like a year and a half just to buy this BPO officer suit or weapon, and then sending it between players. Okay, you get the suit for a week, you get the BPO for a week, and then you have to send it to somebody else.
And that lasts
Or are you
24
someone
hours.
like
no, this
Victor
is what I would do.
Haddad?
Oh my god.
He
As
just
soon
puts
as
it on
it
an
got to me, I would just like dip. I would leave the corp. That's what I would do.
Yes.
Well, okay. I think we have hit the downswing on this topic already.
Episode 69.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reality is, like, we did want to have a chat about some of the economic pieces of Dust, because it is a very tenuous framework, but it's something that, again, a lot of people have looked forward to for a very long time. It's just we're kind of just taking baby steps, and I think in the near future we're going to have continued baby steps. They would have to do some fairly significant things to shake this up. I mean, like, I guess if they opened up everything for trade, such as like boosters and all that other kind of stuff, that there might be something to this. But I I don't think you're going to get the level of community investment that you get nearly related to Eve. I think some of the things that Jadek has been doing is probably about the right sort of in that band that you can expect and make sense. Utilizing some basic tools to facilitate, kind of a, for lack of a better term, swap meet. I think is probably about where it needs to be right now. I know I probably just respectfully disagree with Heracles. I think there are elements of the burgeoning economic system that is much more overly complex than it needs to be in terms of the use of currencies for what we're able to do with them. That would be just kind of my general take on it, and it's not evil. It's just I think it's indicative that there were far grander ideas that they're not probably going to be able to realize in this iteration of Dust. Like I said, not evil. It's probably reality. Now that being said, I do think a lot of people enjoy some of the back and forth, sort of the kind of pseudo trade, day trader style, or really commodities market type style trading that you get. So for that, I think it's actually a good bit of content for some folks, and I think it is a great way for people to get access to certain kinds of gear that they like and unload most people's inventories now, if you've ever actually looked through them recently, are ginormous. So it's a good way to like offload some stuff and pick up things that you like to use a little bit better. Could be a lot of fun, I think. And what I'd like to do is kind of do a quick round the horn on last thoughts on the sort of economic state of Dust, or things you would like to see in the future with Dust in terms of additions to the economic metagame play. So we'll start with Soraya.
What am I doing?
We'll start with Bait.
Yeah, trading's cool. Just open it up to everything being tradable, and maybe find out or take some suggestions that have been made to not end scamming, because it's quite humorous. It results in some funny things if you're not the one being scammed. But to maybe cut back on it. Like I said, not kill it completely. This is New Eden after all. But maybe just to tone it down a little bit.
Okie dokie. Godin.
Today, we are able to trade anything vehicle related. It's the day that I will whore myself out to you.
Okay, let me find the mutant button for you. Heracles.
It's just like what Aiwha Bait said. They should make everything tradable. They should slip in a confirm. I know that that's a big change to UI and all that stuff. Obviously, it's pretty simple right now. We have a very short list of things we can trade, so we don't need a very complicated system for it. But if they can up the trading game to where everything's tradable, and you have to have a confirm button, and find a a simple way to get through every single item you have. I know that's going to be hard to set up, but that really would add a lot of vitality to the game. And by the by, if anybody has enormous stockpiles of experimental weapons they want to sell me, I'm buying those up. I'm buying up any variants like experimental breach assault rifles, experimental assault rail rifles, anything like that. I'm buying those for around 250k. Everything else I'm buying around 100k. So if anyone has surpluses of those they want to sell me, let me know.
Alrighty, there you go. I like the jab for the Heracles Porsche used weapons market. By the way,
yeah, that's my little shtick I'm carving out.
That's good to go. Jadek, any thoughts?
Just in particular, I'm looking for them to open up ore weapon trading. I'm still sitting on 32,000 core vapor locust grenades to give away in that lottery I did years ago.
Holy shit!
What the fuck?
Yeah. It was a long story. CCP gave me money in a botched transaction with GameSpot, and I turned around and used that money to buy grenades during, I think it was the Black Friday sale.
And you bought grenades? What the fuck?
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was only spec. He didn't. He was only specced into. No, never mind. It makes no sense.
Only specced in the core. Hold on. Hold on. Let me put on my.
It was like if he was only halfway specced into grenades, but that's a lot of fucking boosters he could have bought too. I don't know.
Let me put on my assault suit and
chuck
30.
Call me Mr. Boom.
Actually, believe it or not, Jadek's not the only guy that did that. There were quite a few people that had large stockpiles of vapor core locust grenades floating around for a while.
Dude, if you have 32,000 core locust grenades, then please do send me some, and I will pay you back handsomely.
Off the top of my head, I can let's see. Other than Jadek, there's 1, 2, 3. I think there's at least 3 guys that have come up on the forums or in game with at least 20,000 in a stockpile.
That's retarded. That is absolutely.
It's basically
retarded.
a BPO at that point.
That's fucking amazing.
Well, the idea was that they were going to. It was before they had been announcing or at least hinting strongly at player trading for a while, and at one point, I think that's really what it was. There were some people that sunk into ore. This was probably about a year and a half, no, almost 2 years ago, when there was these growing indicators there was going to be actual player trading, hitting the market, and it was even fairly strongly hinted at I think like an Vegas or something like that by the Dust development team. So a lot of people started to try to pre-position themselves in the market and got fucked up.
Well, see, there's their problem. I heard 2 things in there: Vegas and devs.
They were
in
laser
my
focused.
They were laser focused.
Drunk devs.
Well, yeah. The problem, you could do a whole show topic on it, but if everything in your game, if you play a metagame in a game, you are ridiculously dependent on what a dev is like fucking Alan Greenspan talking. Like your whole market depends on what he says, and that's how it is in the Eve side. Like no shit, like for real. And those devs also that deal with the economy and how they couch things about the economy are way more nuanced because they know that's a critical part of the gameplay. That's you could arguably say one of the most dynamic parts of the gameplay, believe it or not. So they treat it a little bit different than the Dust devs do, or did rather.
God, 30.
Yeah. I still have them.
Okay. So let's move on before Godin starts speaking. Poking.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to a more advanced UI for the trading system, more like a contract system specifically for trading districts and stuff like that. I mean, scamming is great and all, but it would be nice to actually have giving people the tools they need to actually combat scamming directly, rather than a faith-based system, which is kind of messy. So I'm looking forward to that, hopefully in the future.
Alrighty, Zaria, your thoughts?
What was the original question on the trading?
Yeah.
Don't be me. Don't be me. Come on.
No. It's just that so much was already said. I think personally, while the idea of it would be really neat to just everything be tradable, because then anything you wanted to get rid of and somebody might be willing to buy, hey, that's great. I don't think really the goal of everything being tradable is that manageable, simply because of the interface would be kind of impossible. I think at least primarily, there are other like unique things. I mean, obviously all the skins, all the PPOs, all the things that you can't actually buy in game with ISK, definitely. But I'm not like even like Aurum or LP modules and weapons. I mean, I wouldn't put them like really that high up on the list to begin with. I'd start with the more unique items like Black Eagle ARs, for instance, stuff that you can only get as daily mission rewards or random event rewards, things like that. Those I think would be in my opinion the priority, and then look at the other stuff. But
So
that's
I
just me.
Back again. Great. It's great.
Yep. Let's see. I think we got everybody. And Zaria, by the way, you are correct there. Like I think everybody touched on opening up the aperture on what you can trade. Like me personally, I'm like I think if it's keystroke related, let them trade everything that they possibly can with at least every category. Let me put it the way. I like the idea of having some things that are not that are maybe more rare on by intention, things like that. So, like I said, I think it's pretty interesting writ large that you have a meta game that's kind of grown out of a fairly simple first-person shooter game that has some back-end complexities to it. So it's all good. I think that about touches everything we needed to talk about for the show tonight, unless anybody has any other interesting topics they wanted to bring up briefly before we sign off tonight.
Crickets.
I guess we forgot to mention Apex suits. Those are selling for around 40 mil. I just thought I'd mention that since I didn't really touch on the prices of everything. Yeah, Apex suits selling 40 mil. I've sold off a few. I've traded some to get other Apex suits I wanted. So I guess I just thought I'd touch on that just to complete our coverage.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. That's actually a good dope, because that's probably one of the things a lot of people first started slipping around was the Apex suits, I suspect. All right. Well, I think we're about ready to bring this one to a close, guys. Episode 69 of Biomassed. Does anybody have any shout outs? We're going to kind of do it by exception tonight, since we kind of already did around the horn. Does anybody get any pressing shout outs for some of their folks out in the audience?
Yeah,
Shout
a
out.
couple.
Go ahead, Dave.
All right, Heracles.
No, go, Jadek.
Wait, who's doing?
All right, I got it. Heracles, do you have shout outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out Silver Strike and Destroyer and Michael on Road and everyone who came with me from Cap to Random Guns, and I've just been playing with for a long time.
Good deal. Okay. Bait.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Incorruptibles Corporation and Ripley Riley and his band of of guys. I've been running around with those guys for probably about 11 or 12 days now. I had so much fucking fun. And I think it was a good move in the end. Also, shout out to Silly Rabbit, who was a good sport and took a fail round to the head and then immediately sent me mail and said he was eating a graham cracker. Silly, I know you're listening. Next time, send me a damn graham cracker with peanut butter on it, and I will spare your life.
Okay. Let's see. Who else had one?
I got
I
one.
did. Jadek.
All right, Jadek, please go ahead.
Alright.
Shout out for the Trello Trade channel. You can look it up Googling Dust Bunny Day Traders.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, catchy name. Godin, did you have one?
Yeah, I like to give a shout out to my grandpa because he let me borrow one of his horses.
Okay, that's solid. All right. I have no shout outs for anybody tonight. Shocker. But we do appreciate everybody hopping on the show tonight, and I acknowledge it's a little bit out of our norm in terms of the kind of the topic stuff we wanted to talk about. But we had gotten some requests for it, so we wanted to be responsive to the folks that get a hold of us. So, again, if you've got any ideas for things you want us to talk about, whether it's Dust, Eve, video gaming, whatever related, just give us a holler, and we'll at least take a stab at it if it's not too crazy. So again, we appreciate you joining us, and please go to biomassed.com and check out our blog. There's a lot of people that do some real good writing on there. Mr. Bait is one of them. And we do try to broaden our horizons a little bit, and we're adding some additional content there pretty soon in terms of touching out to some other things other than just Dust, because there are a lot of good games out there, and there's a lot of good things that we can get into and probably have some good discussions about in the future. So with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and call episode 69 done, and we will get that up and posted here shortly. So, folks, thanks a lot. Good night and good luck.
Master Bait signing off.